Great Britain is now generating record-breaking amounts of renewable energy, and there have never been more options to make our homes greener too, with solar panels, better insulation and heat pumps all becoming more commonplace. For almost 20 years there's been a simple way to measure the energy efficiency of a house, the EPC or Energy Performance Certificate. It was originally designed to show at-a-glance scores for each individual house, with A being the most efficient a property can be and G the least. An EPC is required for selling or renting properties. A higher rating can increase the value of your home. The assessment is meant to look at improving energy efficiency, cutting carbon emissions and also the cost of running utilities. But for some homeowners like Colin, that hasn't been the case. He's taken significant steps to make his home carbon friendly and has been left surprised and confused by his recent EPC ratings. Tell me about when you built this house.
We started building in 2012, finished it in 2013. We specifically wanted a house with all sorts of green technologies, so lots of insulation, solar electricity generating panels, solar thermal, which is doing the hot water, underfloor heating, technology that allows us to have a nice warm house and not cost a fortune to run.
So when you put all of that in, what rating did you get for your EPC?
The original EPC was 100.
And that's an A?
That was an A, 100. When it came to getting another EPC after we had the heat pump put in, we ended up with a 74.
So you dropped 26 points?
For putting in a heat pump.
So from an A to a C. How did that make you feel, Colin?
Fairly angry, to be perfectly honest.
Despite installing a more eco-friendly heater for the house, current EPC testing meant that these newer approaches to energy saving were one of the factors that counted against Colin's score. Each assessor can work differently, but they all work to the same system they are provided with. While new build homes are subject to a rigorous assessment, with all elements of the building process taken into account, when assessing the EPC for existing homes, it's only what can be physically seen that counts.
He assessed all sorts of things like, have we got LED light bulbs? Have we got heating controls? And all the insulation that you can't see is on an assumed basis. They can't drill into walls, they can't look at documents that may explain how the house has been built, which is where my EPC, I think, went wrong. It's a very cheap house to run and it just is not reflected in the EPC.
Could you have it reassessed?
You could, but there's every chance it would be fairly similar. So even if you have an assessor that comes that really fully understands the whole thing, he cannot change the way the system works.
Professor Jan Rosenau is from the University of Oxford and specialises in energy and climate policy.
What is puzzling for a lot of people is that when they install certain renewable energy technologies, they suddenly find that their EPC, rather than going up, they are downgraded. And the main reason for that is that EPCs use a certain methodology. That methodology is cost-based. So it's based on outdated assumptions of what electricity costs or gas costs are. So it's actually not based on how efficient your home is, how much energy it uses.
With cost being such a major part of an EPC rating, the results can be skewed depending on the technology house owners install. And with fluctuating prices of gas and electricity, an EPC assessor can be forced to downgrade a modern, more efficient system.
The assessors are actually not at fault for the down rating that we're seeing. The main reason why that happens is to do with the methodology.
Karen Thurston and her husband Peter were preparing to sell their eco-friendly home that they'd built 12 years ago. Their previous rating was a B, but as it's over 10 years old, it had expired, so they arranged a new assessment. Would you mind telling me about what happened when the assessor came to your house and what he saw?
We were all ready to show him the wall thickness, the insulation, the glass, the air source heat pumps. And that's when we said, oh, you've got air source heat pumps, have you? Oh, that will be a problem. And we said, why? And he said, well, I could give you a B rating if you had a gas boiler. And that's when we fell on the floor, because basically it was to do with cost. If they're looking at the cost of running your home, it should be called an energy cost certificate. We were so disappointed We simply couldn't believe that we were being downgraded to a C. We were then concerned about selling the house and whether that would affect potential buyers, and it's not fair.
Heat pumps work well in suitably insulated homes, but with no way to verify Karen's insulation, it ended up counting against her. Heat pumps are powered by electricity and produce no direct emissions, meaning they can be better for the environment. On the other hand, gas boilers heat efficiently and can be cheaper to run as gas costs are lower. But with conflicting advice, it can leave homeowners confused.
So that's a real problem. So how do we change that? We have those really ambitious targets that the government put out. There's a boiler upgrade scheme providing generous subsidies. But on the other hand, we then penalize people who do it by lowering their EPC score. So it really isn't particularly well joined up, and that's causing confusion amongst consumers. So we've got to change the methodology to make sure when people do the right thing, they're also being rewarded with the right EPC score.
EPCs for domestic homes are valid for 10 years. To find your own EPC and see if it needs renewing, look at Find an Energy Certificate on the government website. To appeal your EPC score, use the same website to contact your assessor and, if needed, go to their accreditation body. They are legally obliged to investigate, and if information is found to be incorrect, a new EPC can be issued at no cost. There is a ray of hope. The government has promised changes to EPCs in 2027 to put less focus on just running costs. But until then, whatever the paperwork tells us, we will be kinder to the planet if we continue to make our homes cleaner and greener.